I am in Toronto for a long weekend. We arrived late last night at about 1 a.m. Eastern Time. So we're staying in a hotel right by the airport, and then we're just about to head into Toronto to meet a friend who we'll be staying with. I'm planning to do some yarn shopping today. It's Saturday today. It's the day when the yarn stores that I want to visit will be open. So I've got to make sure I get to those today, and I'll be filming them so you can see. Other than that, I think we will be just having a kind of locals weekend in Toronto. James and I have been to Toronto once before, a few years ago on our road trip, so we saw quite a few of the sites then. So it'll be nice just to have a local person take us around and see what they would get up to on a normal weekend. The weather is a bit hit and miss. I think today will be nice. Tomorrow is forecast to rain all day, so we'll see. It's much more humid here than it is in Vancouver at the moment. I could feel it as soon as we left the airport, even at 1 a.m. For yarn shopping, I don't know how much I'll be buying because I only have one personal bag, my backpack for my luggage, and that's already pretty full just with my clothes and toiletries for the weekend. I've brought one project with me, that beachy raglan that I've been working on. It's the only kind of project that I have on the go at the moment. I can't imagine I'm going to be spending too much time on it. One, because we're going to be busy out and about, but two, because I am finding I have to concentrate a little bit more on this project. So it's not one that I can just easily pick up and put down, especially if we're catching up with the friends and stuff. So I don't know how much I'll get done, but I had to bring an option with me. And then for yarn store shopping, I know that I would like to get some more yarn to make another sample of that tie vest that I showed you in my last video. So I'll be on the lookout for that. But other than that, I really don't think I'm going to be able to get much more in my bags. I have to keep it, I have to be strict with my purchases. Maybe I'll get a stitch marker or two. But I think there's 3 that I'm going to aim for today. And then there is one, the Knitting Loft, which people recommended me going to, but it is quite a way out of downtown Toronto, so I'm not sure I'll get there today. And then I think it's not open on Monday, maybe not Sunday either, so I'm not sure I'm going to get to that one this time, but we'll see how I get on. Anyway, best get heading into downtown. Okay, first yarn store down, Knit Cafe. It was pretty cool. I think they have a lot of classes in there, so it wasn't a cafe as such. You just had a table that you could sit down and knit at, and it sounded like they had some crochet and knitting classes there. A few different types of wool available, more like the commercial side, so knitting for Olive. They had some hedgehog fibres and wool in the gang, things like that. But yeah, very happy. This is a very cool neighbourhood. I had to change as soon as we got to our friends because it's so humid. I was sweating already, so I already had to change. But yeah, at least one more yarn store to visit today. It's now Sunday morning. I didn't film an update yesterday after going to the second yarn store, but it was called Good Grief Yarn Provisions, and that was a really cute store. It was much more their own stuff. They had a few different yarn brands, but they had a lot that was hand dyed and branded with Good Grief yarn. They also had a bunch of stitch markers and enamel pins that also come from them, or they have their branding on it. So I did not find any yarn that I wanted to purchase, but I did buy some stitch markers from them. I got these ones. They're travel themed, like progress keepers, which I thought were really cute. And they had a cool t-shirt actually for their store, which I considered buying, and I think you can probably buy online, so I might look to do that. But yeah, that was a really nice store. And then after that, we just had a bit of a walk around. We came back to our friend's apartment for a bit to chill out before heading to one of the islands just off of downtown Toronto called Ward's Island. It's definitely very busy in Toronto compared to Vancouver. After living in London, but then being in Vancouver, Vancouver's a much more slower pace life of a city compared to Toronto. And it makes me realise how much I have slowed down myself. But it was obviously very busy yesterday. There was a baseball game on, and it was the Caribbean Carnival. So it's very, very busy. And over on Ward's Island, we got a tiki boat across, which was kind of fun. And it was very busy on the island. You could tell a lot of people were there just to hang out for the day. It was the weekend. We walked around. There's a few residential homes on there that people can live on. There's a very limited number of housing. But we kind of walked around there, and then before we got the ferry back and then headed back, and we were kind of done for the day at that point. So today it's a bit of a rainy day here today, so might not be out and about too much, but I think we're going to Spadina House, which I'll be able to tell you more about after we've been. And then just a little bit of a walk around. Tonight we're maybe going to an open air viewing of the Titanic, but if it is raining, that won't happen. So we might go to a board game cafe or go to some comedy. I'm not sure. But anyway, right now I need some coffee. I'm still feeling surprising jet lag. There's only a 3-hour time difference, but I still found myself, my sleep was a bit off last night, so coffee is needed. Unfortunately, Spadina Museum was fully booked, so instead we went searching for some brunch and found Almond Butterfly Bistro, which is a completely gluten-free cafe. I then did manage to get to one other yarn store to do a bit of shopping, and the rest of the day was walking around, got some coffee, got some amazing gluten-free treats. We met up with some friends of our friends to play board games, and then the next day we walked around Hyde Park before flying back to Vancouver. But I will show you what I bought. So as you can see, I am back home now, but I did just want to show you what I got from Yarns Untangled when I visited there, like the last yarn store I got to. Unfortunately, I didn't get to any more. I think I might have mentioned already that although there are a few more yarn stores in Toronto or around outside of the downtown area, I couldn't get to them because they were only open on Saturday and I couldn't get to all of them in one day. And it was a stat on Monday, so again, they don't close, but I think often they're shut anyways on Mondays. Yarn stores tend to be, because they're open on Saturdays. Anyway, yeah, I got back late last night in the end. I had something that I have never done before, but I got to Toronto Airport. My flight back to Vancouver was meant to be at 8 p.m. And I wasn't with James because he's actually gone on, we were both in Toronto together. He's gone on to Europe to go on a trip with some friends from the UK, and I was coming back here. Our flights were around the same time, but got to the airport, went our separate ways. I was waiting at my gate, and they made an announcement to say that the flight was overbooked, and they were looking for one volunteer to go on the next flight, which would be 9:30 p.m. And I wasn't working the next day, so I thought, well, I'll volunteer for myself because I can be flexible. I'm not working tomorrow. Getting on a flight that's only an hour and a half later than planned, fine. So I went up and volunteered myself, and they said I just had to wait to confirm that there wasn't going to be a seat on my original flight, that everyone was going to show up. It's kind of annoying that they overbook, but anyway, and I got, so yeah, I waited, and it was really down to the wire. It's crazy how late people show up to board the flight, but anyway, it did turn out that everyone showed up, so I was put on the next flight. I got an Air Canada credit as well, which is awesome, and will go towards a trip that we have planned next year. So I'm kind of up there, so it's definitely worth it. However, once they processed it all, booked me on the next flight, gave me the boarding pass, gave me the credit, I then got an alert on my phone because my app, Air Canada app, had updated with my new boarding pass to tell me that the flight was delayed by an hour. No biggie, but just meant it was getting later. But in the end, the flight didn't actually leave till 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. So I didn't actually get home till 2 a.m. When it was originally going to be maybe 10. So slightly annoying, but I just had to keep reminding myself, well, I've got $800 it was from Air Canada. So I've got to be like, it's worth being late. I'm not working. So I'm feeling a little bit tired today because I didn't sleep well. Like I ended up waking up early anyway, and I couldn't sleep. So feeling a bit off today, but it was worth it, I think, to get that credit, and I can be flexible. And I guess, yeah. Right, but yeah, had a great time in Toronto. It's good just to be in like a big city. It makes me realize just how small Vancouver is, and that's not good or bad. It's just Toronto is a massive city. It's not comparable. There's lots going on all the time, a bit like London, where I lived for a few years. So it was good, and grateful to stay with our friends for the weekend. Had fun with them, went out with some other friends of theirs for a board games night. That was really good fun. Played like a couple of new games that we hadn't played before. So yeah, really lovely weekend. But yeah, let me just show you what I got from Yarn Untangled, which is a yarn store I had been to before when we were in Toronto in 2023 on my first visit. But it's quite an accessible one. It's in the Kensington Market area, which is a very popular area to go. So what I got there, again, I couldn't see yarn that I wanted. Like I was being quite specific with looking for yarn to make a second sample of that tie vest. And again, I didn't quite see what I wanted. They had very similar options to the other yarn stores, to be honest. I had noticed that all three of them had the yarn. It is a Canadian one, but I feel like I don't see it much here. Oh, I'm recording on my phone, I can't Google. What's it called? Lysenlichen? Hang on. Lynchen and Lace yarn, and I think that's, yeah, it's a Canadian hand dyer. I noticed it in all three stores, and I have seen it around before, but I feel like it's not commonly stored as much in BC. That's just an observation. And so I did, because I was seeing a lot, I thought I kind of want to try this yarn, but I just didn't quite find the right weight and colour that I was looking for. But I might just check out online and see if I can find something. They also had like Okanagan Dye Works, and they had the kind of usual stuff, a bit of Sambiscan, I think. Yeah, but they had lots of other trinkets and books in there. And I ended up buying a book. This is one I hadn't seen before, although I don't look at kind of knitting books too often, I guess. Oh, but it has just come out this year. Maybe that's why. But I got this, Maths for Knitters. On my camera, sorry, it's looking like it's backwards, but Maths for Knitters by Kate Atherley. And I just thought this would be really handy. I was having a browse through it, and with the pattern designing that I do, and I'm wanting to be like size inclusive as possible, and I'm getting better and better at designing for that, I think. But I'm still only designed a small number of like actual tops, like garments so far, but I have plans for much more. So I thought this might be good for me because I do struggle a bit with maths sometimes. It's not my strong point, so it takes a lot of trial and error for me to get the calculations right with grading and just in general, like starting the initial design. And I think this book will be really helpful. So I don't know if anyone else has got this book or used it. Let me know your thoughts on it if you have. But I bought that, and it's quite small, so it was good to fit in my backpack. I don't actually know if I would have fit the yarn volume that I needed, so it's probably best I didn't see anything I liked. And then I also did just pick up a little bag of the stitch markers, only $3 for all of those, which I thought was a bargain. Just branded there. And yeah, that was that. I had a great time just browsing those yarn stores. I'm always going to love doing that, and hopefully next time I get to Toronto, I will make sure I have time to get out to the ones that were slightly further afield, like the Knitting Loft, which is quite a bit further out. And in terms of the raglan, beachy raglan that I have been working on in the project that I took with me, which I kind of knew I probably wouldn't spend much time on. I barely spent any time at all working on it, to be honest. I reckon I did about 2 rounds in the whole 3 nights that we were away. But I've been working on it a bit today. I've been having a bit of a chill day, just catching up on TV and knitting, just doing a little bit and pieces, but not putting too much pressure on myself. But yeah, so we've not got too much further on this than probably last time I showed you, and it's all bunched up on the needles, so kind of hard to show you, but I think it's going well. I kind of noticed where I started off getting a bit of the lace pattern wrong to begin with, and on some of the sections, and how it's much more evened out now. So there's part of me that thinks I need to just start the whole thing again, and then the other part of me, it's like, oh, I've got so close to splitting for the body and the sleeves that I don't want to. But if I'm going to use this as a pattern design, it needs to look right. So I may end up ripping this out tonight and starting again, but maybe that'll be worth it. Anyway, enough about that. I'll probably be talking about that in another blog, but I hope you enjoyed my little yarn store tour of Toronto. Let me know if you have been to Toronto, you're from Toronto. Let me know your favourite yarn stores in the comments below. If it's ones I haven't been to already, I can make sure I pin them on my map for next time. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I will see you next time.